Hi everybody, it's Marilyn Hawes again from Heart and Soul and working alongside with Unprecedented TV, when you'll find us on YouTube. Now then, we have asked ourselves a very, very big question. Do we have two-tier policing and sentencing in the UK? And the person that's going to ask this to me is coming up very, very soon. And he is married to a lady you will have seen in the press. So he's the husband of Lucy Connolly. So stand by. So this morning, I'm going to be talking to Ray Connolly, and he is the husband of Lucy Connolly, who you will know, and we will be talking about, I think he'd be very passionate about, two-tier sentencing and policing. But I also want to talk to him because he is actually the Conservative councillor for Northampton Town Council. So I want to talk about politics as well. But alongside this, when I'm not doing this work, I also am CEO of Freedom from Abuse, and that's a charity working to prevent abuse and identifying risk. And I do particularly like doing these shows because in the time I've got, I invite people on who maybe have got a terrible, horrible story to tell, or have got a job even that is very interesting that we can learn from, and maybe not have what we call now this unconscious bias and judgmental attitude to people. Because I don't think for a moment Ray Connolly saw what was going to happen on his doorstep the night before it happened when they all went to bed. I'm sure he didn't. So welcome, Ray. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm really keen to because when Lucy was arrested, if you don't know it, people that are listening, do look up Lucy Connolly, but I think you'll find that most people do. Terrible situation. And Ray, would you like to just introduce us to that bit about the moment when you knew or suspected, what actually happened, and through the eyes of the husband and, the father, how it felt?
Well, obviously, my son texted me. He said, "Oh, look, Dad, have you seen what's happening on Twitter?" And I went, "No, I'm not on Twitter." He said, "Oh, look, I'll send you some things." And it was like, come up a Tory councillor, her wife's a Tory, her husband's a Tory councillor, and it was all sorts of groups what were tagged in. And they were just saying what Lucy had said. But obviously, I wasn't aware of she said this because it was 7 or 8 days earlier. And she deleted it after a few hours. And, when she'd calmed down.
Can you remember, so people know, could you just say what she put? Because I think most of us wanted to write the same thing.
Okay. She just said, obviously, it was after the Southport massacre. She was... just put down as near as damn it. But oh crikey, yeah. Gosh, I've read this so many times. Basically, just to say, set fire to these hotels before all I care, and put all the treacherous politicians in there as well, along with them. Words along that line, really. Yeah. So yeah, I just came home that day when she told me. When this was all going on, I couldn't get in the house, and she was just in the playroom with all the kids. She was like panicking. She was nothing over just over these poor children had got killed, and then obviously thought nothing of it until about 7 days later, and police turned up in the morning to arrest her and took her away. She came home late that night. Then a couple of days later, they came again and took her away again. And I never seen her in this house again for over a year.
Gosh, Jude. It was because she was given 30 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, 31 months. she was given.
Which is just absolutely outrageous. So nearly 3 years for doing a post that she then took down, she then apologized for. And I think I remember her saying that when they were rioting and throwing things, she was actually putting out, this isn't the right way to do it. This isn't the right way. Don't get violent. This isn't the right way. Do you, I know what I think. Do you believe that she was targeted because you were the Tory councillor?
It was a juicy opportunity for them, and they knew it would get massive exposure, and they did. I mean, my brothers were in America, and they said, "Oh my God, Lucy's on the TV out there." But even when I went back to work a few days later, they were saying, "It's weird, Ralph. Just watch Sky News. They've got 3 big pictures of you and a little picture of Lucy in the corner." It was all about Tory councillor's wife. So. Yeah, especially with some of the people who had rang me up as well, and I thought this was all going to be a political situation, really, because obviously Keir Starmer had lost control with what happened in Southport. He didn't get the information out there, he didn't know what to do, and unfortunately, Lucy got caught in that net.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing anyway, does he? I mean, talk about a numbnut. I mean, really, quite honestly, I mean, I've got no patience with the man at all. Let's go just back then from that to you yourself. I personally, I know Lember, was a politician and all that. I can't think of anything worse than being involved in politics, because I just think it's like corrupt and brutal. I mean, what did you as a little boy think, I want to do this?
No, I was always moaning about politicians, and then I went for a meal with some friends, and one of them was a councillor, and I was arguing about it to him, and he said, "Well, if you think you can do so much about it, Ray, you do it as well." I said, "I bloody well will do." So he said, "I guess, well, I'll put your name forward then, and you can for the West Northants Council." I said, "Yeah, and I'll do the town council as well." He goes, "What, both of them?" I said, "Yeah." And then he goes, "Well, I wouldn't do the town council race. It's been a Labour stronghold for 25 years. You won't win that seat." I said, "I bloody well will." I was happy. I mean, it was funny because I was getting text messages. "Oh my God, well, I can't believe it. It's just come up. You'd won both of those seats." That was obviously 5 years ago.
Oh, it was only 5 years ago. So what were you doing before then?
Nothing, just like everybody else, just moaning about politicians, but they're not representing the people. More seem to be interested in themselves and their own careers, as opposed to the people who I live in my area and represent, and just felt our areas were pretty much abandoned.
I think I like your area, actually. I think Northamptonshire is really nice. There's beautiful villages around there, and I think it's just, I think it's a nice county. I really do. My daughter-in-law went to Oundle School. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know it.
Oundle, yeah. Just all the yummy mummies there, aren't they? But it is nice. It's lovely. But so have you regretted doing it at all, or do you really love it?
Oh, crikey. I mean, obviously, we had the local elections last May, and I lost one of my seats. But it is kind of, you realise how difficult the job is, because as a West Northants councillor, unitary councillor, my job, it was 6 o'clock start in the morning to 11, plus I'm doing my own job. I'm walking around my workplace on my phone. People are coming up to me because, "Ray, you've been on the phone for 2 hours." I thought, "Oh, better go and do some work." Just sorting out things, and it was a quite stressful job, because you're dealing with school appeals, which give you sleepless nights trying to get children into school, and you're doing all your research late, and then before you go into panels, and it was quite a tough job. And then you're doing like people's housing situations, adaptions, and you've got your own committees, adult social care, planning. And you're doing this all on your own, and you want to make the best possible job as possible you can do. And I did put my heart and soul into it. You need to.
And that's why you're on here.
Yeah.
I mean, do you then, I don't know much about town councillors. Do you have meetings with the MP for the county? Do you have to touch base with them at all?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Every problem I get now, I speak to my former MP, Andrew Lua. He's the Conservative. The MP we have at the moment, Mike Reader, he obviously is only a year into the role, so I wouldn't really be getting anything positive back from him anytime soon. So I still go to Andrew, he's a school teacher now, I believe. So, I mean, every time I ask him for something, it's straight away back with the information I need. So is my go-to man, but I don't really speak to the local MPs.
Do you ever have to go into Westminster and see that pantomime that goes on?
I do go in there, but really only just to watch debates with people like Rupert Lowe and whatever, and but nothing really. Only to see the debates there, nothing to add anything to. But most of my job will be around the town hall in Northampton, where we'll have our planning committees what I'm on, and environmental services committees I'm on, and then it's just general legwork around the county. And if I have a problem, I will ring up former councillors, existing councillors, anything to get the best possible, because these things can drag on trying to sort things out, and we need them sorted out quickly. So I'll always ring up the best person I feel can help me.
I'm the same as that. I mean, with my charity that I do, you can't. I want an instant response, because I can't mess around. If I've got somebody that's just told me they've been sexually abused and there's somebody still out there, I don't want to hang around. I will be very bullish with the police as well. I'm no pushover. I really am not. You can't afford to be, can you? I mean, going back to your life prior, because it's some years ago, and again, you don't have to answer this, because I know it's incredibly emotional, but I would be interested to hear, if you feel you're able to, I would be interested to hear how you felt as a dad and a husband when you so cruelly lost your little toddler, Harry. I mean, how did it feel to be? This is how I imagine it. I imagine that, I might be completely wrong because I'm not a man and I'm not a dad. I would imagine it was almost doubly tough, because there's this expectation that being the husband, you have got to stay strong because you've got your wife to think of. But the pain has to be equal, I imagine. You know, did you find this like, I've got to be her, I've got to be a husband, I've got to be strong for her, or was this just not able to be?
It's just really tough. Even now, when you just mention his name, it's kind of like I have a rush of blood to his head. It's a strange feeling. I start thinking about me finding him in the bed. You know, I mean, strange. You know, I don't know what people do when they lose kids. I mean, you know, I kind of like try to be strong as best you can. But if I found myself, you know, going into clothes shops looking for clothes for him after he died. I don't know whether other people, I never spoke to anybody about that. You know, I'd looking at toy shops and think, oh, that, and I'd look, oh, Harry had like that top there. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at the sizes and I'm thinking, and then you're there for ages before you realise that you're not going to be able to put that on him.
Yeah. It's a very hugely brutal thing to happen. And, yeah, I mean, I don't. It can't be anything worse. But I think I would find. Well, I know I would. I would find it intensely worse because of the failure. He should still be here today, shouldn't he? If it wasn't the lack of care at the NHS hospital, that I think that would really grit on me as well. That, you know, he should never have died. And that's complete incompetence that caused that. Are you able to talk about that?
Yeah, I can. I know Lucy spoke about me finding him, you know, an hour time, taking him to a hospital. But I think, you know, I kind of think to myself, you know, I look at my situation now with Lucy and problems I have with the, well, not problems. I don't see them as an enemy or anything, the government. I just think, at that time when Harry died, I watched how the establishment closed ranks to shut us down. I mean, I've I was with detectives for 7 hours telling them what had happened with children's, you know, they didn't believe me, I think, at first. And they were like, and then when they did find out, everything Ray's saying is the truth. They just disappeared. But going to the inquest, it was tough for me and Lucy because obviously we have they point their experts, and the experts were at the inquest were, his name's Elias from Leicester, Elias Jones, I think it was, and they were just saying how fantastic and the care was for Harry, and it went basically beyond the call of duty. But obviously it broke Lucy's heart because she knew that they were making stuff up. But lucky enough, going through the inquest, our barrister was fantastic. Our advocate. All those doctors came in one by one, and they really did tear strips off of them. I remember that one of the doctors who we last seen, Abu Tambi, I remember me saying to him, "This is not right," and he's like, "I've been doing this job 15 years." And it's very difficult when you've got someone like that, and I'm like, this isn't wrong. But obviously I woke up to a dead baby the following morning. I remember his wife crying behind me because when my barrister was questioning him, asking him about nice guidelines, needs of basic care. They didn't. He said, "You didn't take his blood pressure." And I haven't got the equipment. And it was just stuff like that. It was so strange listening to him, and I thought, oh my God. But it ended with 13 or 14 nice guideline failings. Every doctor what came in or nurse, they got pretty much annihilated by a barrister. And the first day, the independent expert sat with all the doctors in the corner, and he was quite pally with them. But I did notice the following day at the inquest, he'd moved over the way. And summing up, our barrister, I say barrister, I don't know what he was, our lawyer. He called Elias because he wanted to question him, but Elias had left all his notes, all the notes supporting all the doctors at the table, and the coroner went Pember because, you've left your notes there. Do you want me to get the deputy coroner to pick them up for you and bring them to you? And no, after what I've heard for the last 2 days, I retract everything I've said. And they just said to and Pember said to our barrister, because if you've got any questions for us, because I just one. He goes, in all probability, if Harry had been put on a drip, in all probability, would he still be alive? And he just said, he goes, there's no probability about it. If they'd have put him on a drip, he would still be here now.
I mean,
and the whole place just like, it was awful, awful scene. It was.
Look, I mean, honestly, I mean, that should have been, I mean, even me as a sort of an ordinary person would be thinking that, I've had children go into hospital. I've lost a baby as well. I know, not like at the age of Harry, but that must really cut into you, though, to know that a drip would have saved him, which you would have thought that would be even to hydrate him, you know what I mean?
That's what it was, hydration. I couldn't hydrate him because there's, he couldn't take in the fluid. He was bringing it all up. I kept trying to feed it, trying to give him yogurt at home, which Dr. Tambi said he just kept puking the vial up, and I just didn't know what to do. And we've been down there 3 times, I think, already, and we were made out to be like we were one of these like pain in the ass parents who something's not wrong with their children. But it was just I just didn't know what to do. Even this day onwards, I thought about it the other day. I thought the guilt is still here with me.
I'm sure.
I took him to the doctors, but I just felt I made the wrong decision.
I mean, guilt is one of the a huge emotion to do with grief, isn't it? Guilt is, I mean, my children were sexually abused by my best friend who was the head teacher and I was the deputy. And the guilt. I mean, I was brought up in Catholic as well. We do guilt, you know. We're very good at guilt, but I'm not that anymore. Although I am spiritual, I'm not denominational. But the last thing, and it took me years and years to get over the guilt. I befriended this guy as a friend, nothing more. He wasn't interested in me, of course, because he was a paedophile and he liked little boys. So, but he, you know, I married the wrong man, because when I was vulnerable, he got closer to me, this guy. And then, you know, so I married the wrong man. All this stuff, you know, I made the wrong decision. And then that ended up with me almost, well, trying to take my own life, because I thought all the decisions I make are wrong. And guilt is absolutely one of those boxes that is very much a part of grieving. And I don't think, anyway, with anything so tragic as this, I don't think you ever get over it. I think there's always going to be something. There's always going to be a trigger, isn't there? A child that looks like him, or you imagine look like him, and then you get that awful feeling. It comes back again. Do you find it hits you when you least expect it?
It's tough, because two of my friends, their sons were born at the same weekend as Harry, and you know, I've been playing golf with them, you know, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Harry should be here playing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, I mean, you know, it's like I said, you're going to take this to the grave with you. I mean, I remember going into work and saying to one of the lads, I swear to God, when I go and see God, I'm going to go him straight into the queue to have put him straight. I'm a piece of my mind, and that queue's really long.
I know that feeling full well. I know that feeling because one of my boys, I got 4 children, and they were 4 under 5. But one of them, I mean, he was born to be a dad. You know, they're all great parents, but my Peter was just loved kids and stupid arse at Christmas and all those things. He was great, and then 5 years of trying, 3 lots of IVF. The third one, out comes baby Lydia, beautifully born for the first 4 months, starts having seizures. You'll never, ever, ever forget the evening when he rang me up and said that she'd got this, life-limiting condition called lysencephaly, which is flat brain. And so something had not worked during the gestation. Neuronal activity didn't work. So parts of her brain aren't curled. I will never forget him telling me she might not live till 2. Well, she's now 18 months and she's storming it. And she's basically really sort of shown Great Ormond Street up hugely, because I think the thing is, no one's right to take away people's hope. I mean, did you ever think that, going back to Lucy now, that, I mean, having to cope with all of that in prison was horrendous as well, because there would have been women there presumably pregnant, having babies, because they do, don't they? I mean, what was she like? How was she? I mean, how often could you go and see her?
I went there pretty much every week. I did. I wanted to keep her spirits up and tell her what was happening at home, the support. You know, and there were some great stories. Obviously, the children she looked after, they went and visited her. They did.
Because she was a baby minder, wasn't she? Childminder?
Yeah. The kids, obviously, they missed Lucy. They went there. And there were some funny stories. I remember saying, you know, I got there one day and obviously I got on well with the prison officers and whatever. And the kids were brilliant, going to see her. And it really gave her a boost, especially when they're like, well, we're here to see our English mum. So it was good that they were visiting her, and she loved to see them. She did, and they couldn't wait for her to come home, and they were all around the house, and she went and visited them. So
the HM Peterborough, is that a category A, B, or C prison?
B, I believe.
B. So that's still quite high end crime in there.
Yeah, I mean, no, they don't on the women's wings. They don't put you in separate. Lucy's with murderers, baby killers. I mean, I'd go there sometimes. I mean, one of them, I mean, I can say these names because it doesn't matter, that some of the people she come across, like Virginia, her name is, she got 36 years. She killed her mum and dad and kept them in the house. But Lucy met her on the landing, and Lucy wasn't keen on talking to her, but she was a friendly little woman, this is Virginia. She's only a small, blonde-haired woman. She poisoned her parents and then finished them off with an hammer. But, yeah, hid them in the wardrobe and entombed them. But Lucy was there, and she came down and along the wing, and she was seeing her, and she goes, "Oh, Lucy, do you want to swap a vape for your leggings?" And Lucy goes, "No, I don't vape." "And why did you kill your parents? Did they hurt you when you were little?" And she goes, "Oh, no, they were lovely, my parents were." I'm like, that's the sort of people she was in there. There's some great people in there as well. Some people who Lucy felt shouldn't be in there.
Well, it's interesting she says that, because I am very friendly with, and I've done a Heart and Soul show with him. It was the first one that I did with Peter Garsden. He's the top child abuse lawyer in the country. A lovely, lovely man, lives near Manchester. And he said to me, "I have seen more innocent people go to prison than, and he also has said, frankly, there's an awful lot of police that should be there behind the bars rather than the people that they've tried to put there."
There was police in there who were in prison with
they get a bad they don't
there were prison guards in there, in prison, police officers, but Lucy, like I said, Lucy, because obviously Peterborough, where it's a foreign national prison, I believe. There's a lot of foreign nationals there. I thought, but Lucy got on well with all of them, and not all, most of them. It was funny because obviously I was thinking, I thought I was fighting for my very existence here, because obviously I'd lost a complete wage and I'm having to pay everything, hence I've sold everything, cancelled everything. And obviously there's a few people in there who are homeless, and I'm sending Lucy money in so she could get canteen, and that's the way you could get some Haribos and some snacks and crisp and whatever, and you get them every Thursday. But then Lucy's asking me to send other money in for the girls in there who are homeless, who have got no parents. Got no family, so they haven't got anything. So I was doing that as well, and Lucy was getting her other friends to send money in as well, so that she could get them all canteen, so they all had something.
Yeah, you see, and when it was over, she came home to a loving family, and those people what are they going to come home to? I mean, it's the most, I think I can understand, because I've done a lot of visiting in prisons, because when I've done a lot on media, when my case was very, very visible with Sky News, and they have Sky in the prisons, and I would be talking about this guy, and I would get letters from convicted paedophiles that could I go in and talk to them, and these letters would come and they'd been rubber stamped by the governor. So I would go in, and you're queuing up, and you're queuing up with the visitors, so you have to have the same, the check, the patting down, the going through the radar thing. And I actually found it's such a different world that I found it quite fascinating. I wouldn't want to be in one, but I did find it fascinating. And I always remember when I had done the visit, and it was always, these men, they're always men, and I can remember sort of sitting in one, a room that was about the size of a lady's toilet, and they would come in and want to talk and all that. And I started off by saying, "Look, I actually want to learn from you about your childhood. What made you behave like this? What? Because I've got my ideas on it. I just want you to tell me. And if you think you're going to manipulate me, because you're all very good at that, and if you think you're going to groom me, and you're all very good at that, there's a little button here, and I'm going to press it, and then you're going to go in the silent wing for about a week. So if you want to play silly games, I can play them too, but I got the higher hand here." But it was interesting. Underneath it, you sort of, having got that out the way, and they would talk about, every single one of them I met had issues with trauma in those early 3 years. And funnily enough, an awful lot had very controlling mothers. But those mothers that never really, if you like, validated their masculinity. And you think, crikey, people aren't born like this. They are absolutely messed up in childhood, and I'm not having sympathy for them, but there are reasons. And a lot of the people I got on very well with the prison guards. I thought I'm sure they could be pretty blooming horrible if I saw somebody jump, and when I was going around the prison, I thought, suicides and all of that. It is really something to see, and the food is absolutely rubbish, isn't it? So,
Lucy used to, I think, but if Lucy used to throw a lot of it in the bin, but other people, the other prisoners, be going, "Oh no, do you want them wedges? I'll have them. Don't throw that away." There's always someone who wanted to eat it, eat Lucy's dinner if she weren't eating it. But I think Christmas was all right. She said I had a decent dinner on Christmas Day, but yeah, I mean, the trouble is they give you a lot of carbs in the prison because a lot of the dogs in there are drug addicts and whatever, so they come out. They do a lot of carbs, but like with the history of these people there, Lucy ended up I remember many conversations. I mean, the officers going, "There's too many people in your cell, Lucy, and what are you doing? Running a workshop there?" Because a lot of them weren't really good at writing or reading, couldn't even read English. So Lucy would always be ringing them, "Who's the MP for such and such?" And because she'd be writing all the letters of complaint for them. And but I mean, I'm just thinking it. I remember once I was ringing her up at one of the prisons. They're all in Lucy's cell. They were all congregated in. And excuse the language, but I mean, I was on the phone to her one day, and one of the officers come by and said, "Oh, I could hear him. There's too many in the cell." And it was like, "Mind your own damn business, you bomber clad." I was like laughing away. And I went, "Who's that? Such and such, But obviously Lucy, they'd have them all they'd be congregating in Lucy's cell, putting the world to rights. Hence why she did have a few run-ins with governors and whatever. But she generally, it was tough for her in prison, don't get me wrong, because obviously she missed a daughter. But
how did she cope?
Sorry?
How did she cope, daughter?
Oh, God, it was okay. It was just really tough in the end. Yeah. Early to start off with, we were a good team, everything's going well, and we're doing our best. But I think the more and more she kind of watched the state dealing with Lucy, all over the TV, all over, the radio, on TikTok, her friends. I mean, her friends, don't get me wrong, her friends were supportive or not supportive supportive of Lucy, of Edie. They're like, "Oh, you can borrow my drone if you want, Edie, and you can drop some extra stuff off your mum." They were funny, those sort of conversations. But
was your daughter, having been a teacher, that sort of situation kind of bring out the worst in some pupils and start bullying? "Oh, your mum's a jailbird." Did she have it? Did your daughter have any of that?
Not really, no. I don't. No, she didn't ever mention it. I mean, just one boy, but it was more. I think he just wanted to talk to Edie more than anything. But no, but I don't think she hadn't received anything like that. It's all support really from pretty much most people, and she knew it. She had so much support. So the teachers, no, the students. They weren't. It was just they weren't really bothered about it. They weren't. Although
that's good.
Constantly on TikTok.
That's good, because the bullying, I can imagine. I mean, I can imagine Keir Starmer's children getting awfully bullied. Your dad doesn't even know what a woman is. I can imagine.
Oh, God, I feel sorry for them. I do. I feel sorry for his kids.
I feel very sorry for his kids. It just they must be having a terrible time, bless them. But when I think you pretty much saw two-tier policing. When we had a chat the other day, you mentioned it, and I thought, that when they didn't one of the let me get it right, but didn't one of the guards think that she maybe might come out a couple of months early and was hoping she might, and then you got a certain visitor from Westminster, wasn't it, that came to see the governor?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we would always be put. I mean, obviously, this whole thing started off where, we was talking to the solicitor's advocate, and they're like, "Look, this is your situation, Lucy. Plead guilty, be home by around Christmas. Plead not guilty, you might be on remand for 18 months." And I'm like, "Gosh, we don't know anything about the prison system." So I did say to people, they're saying that Lucy might be on remand for if she goes to jury. You'd probably be over a year. I'm like, that means she's better off of course, then Lucy it was the quickest exit for her, which was to plead guilty. She wouldn't go to a jury and try and argue her case. And I just said, well, could she win it? And they're like, maybe, who knows? Probably, maybe not. It's that sort of conversation. So, so she pleaded guilty, expecting to come home around Christmas. So as soon as she'd been sentenced, I rang up this list. I said, when is she home? It's the 22nd of February. And I'm like, oh, okay, then. All right, okay, 22nd. But obviously that wasn't the case at all. They had other plans because she was only going to come home on the 22nd of February if the governor said that she was okay on tag. But we were never told about that. So she was in there for another 6 months. I did go into, obviously, I'd always watched on the Keir Starmer, he was being questioned by, I believe, Richard Tice about Lucy, and he stood up and said, I'm really happy that we've got an independent judiciary. And I looked at the front bench, I looked at Yvette Cooper, they're all like that, yeah.
Like
but then I realised what the government was all about, because when I walked into Peterborough prison once, Lucy was 6 weeks left to finish her sentence. And I wanted childcare rotto, which... it was a lot of people had got it. Most, from what I could gather, for exceptional circumstances. And Lucy had the teachers of the school writing to the prison, expressing their concern that they would appreciate their mother seeing her for the weekend, or she could have a day release. I could go up to the prison and Lucy could come out at 8 o'clock in the morning and go back at, they wouldn't have anything like that. So nothing. Everything was a delay. Lucy would fill a lot of the forms in for people on Rotto, and they'd get an answer within a couple of weeks. Lucy, 6 or 7 weeks for a no. But on the last one, I walked into Peterborough prison, and the OMU worker, so the top probation worker, who's been there 18 years, and I went in there and I went, Lucy said, oh, look, he wants to meet you, Ray. And I went, oh, he said, look, Ray, I'm trying so hard to get Lucy off on this ride. And I have done ever since since she came into prison to try and get her some release. As I stand outside probation, I'm more than happy. Lucy's risk is nothing. Internally, probation are happy. I spoke to the governor. The governor's got a meeting at 4 o'clock on Zoom with the Home Secretary. So hopefully I can give you some good news later. And I'm like, what's it got to do with Home Secretary? Then I realised, you know what? I realised then that this was so political. They just wanted to make an example of Lucy. But I remember going on GB News, and I did say, you're making a big mistake, Keir Starmer is making Lucy your poster girl, because she'll be your worst enemy when she comes out.
Well, this is it. At the end of the day, basically, it's given her a career, hasn't it? To be honest, it was like with me when I had a miscarriage of justice with the guy that abused my children. I immediately, got into the media scene and all of that, and so it's been ever since. And Lucy's going to be the same, because she's very articulate. I mean, what do you actually think? So that is I have never known anyone, when I've released probation and all of that, the Home Office get involved. I mean, that is just tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? I mean, what do you think though with your councillor hat on? Because we're coming to the end. You wouldn't believe it. We've got about 5 more minutes left. How do you think the state of play is? 2 questions. The state of play is in the UK. What do you think about that Josh guy standing down in Macclesfield for, I don't call him the King of the North, I call him the Pratt of the Pennines. I mean, how do you with your political hat on, how do you view all this going?
Well, Josh in Macclesfield.
Yeah.
Oh, crikey. I mean, is he a Green Party candidate?
I don't know. No, he's Labour.
It's just so much happening so quick. I'm like struggling to keep up with it all. I know is that
Labour, isn't he?
Labour.
Yeah.
But Andy Burnham's going to be the.
What gets me about Andy Burnham, he doesn't know if he's going to be elected yet, and he's like thinking he's going to give people jobs. I mean, I would have thought if I was in Macclesfield and this Josh was like appointed and voted in, and now, I'm going now, I would feel completely hijacked. I wouldn't vote for that party again. I mean, but I just think the whole thing, I just think, I worry about the country. I am not racist. I have a Nigerian daughter-in-law, very beautiful girl. But I am really worried about the immigration, the migrants coming in on the boats. I really am. I was looking at some figures the other day with Manchester because of Andy Burnham, that rapes in 10 years have gone up from 16,000 to 70,000. And that's on his watch. You know, he knew about Rochdale. He absolutely knew about Rochdale. And they're just covered. They're career politicians now, aren't they? You don't get the Michael Heseltines anymore, or, you know, Geoffrey Howe or people like that who really, I don't think this lot give a monkeys about the country. I really don't.
No, I mean, at local level, I can't fault our councillors. I mean, I look at them and they give their heart and soul, and they try. I mean, they would be the best. In my head now, I can think of the people who I would have running the country, you know, who are absolutely fantastic councillors, who, you know, very knowledgeable and done it for very little. They'd always help me, no matter what time of day it was. But I think this by-election, I don't think Burnham will win anyway. I don't.
I really hope he doesn't. I really want him.
I don't think he will. It'll be close, but when I heard about it and I thought, you know, he's the mayor of Manchester. I mean, what is it? Manchester second, Westminster first. So if I was on the doorsteps canvassing, and people were saying, because look, you've got the mayor of Manchester, who is Manchester heart and soul, but he's prepared to forget about you lot because Westminster's more important.
But I was reading, because I was on another programme earlier, and that Manchester has got it is the most indebted, financially problematic city in the whole of the UK. The council is basically broke, and yet he's borrowed. What's it, the money? I wrote it down here, something where it's gone from what he had spent. Where's it gone? He had spent, where's it gone? Hang on a minute. Yeah, it went from 289 million to he's borrowed 1.6 billion. I mean, and everybody, when you look at his Twitter feed, everyone's moaning about it, about the migrants, the filth is disgusting, really dirty. There's a place there. I've only been to Manchester a few times. I think they're trams or something. You say the Piccadilly Park there is just full of drug addicts, drunks, robbers.
I've seen that place. They nickname it Crackadilly Park. They do.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's. I would avoid it. I would. I mean, but they're only what I've seen on the TV and heard people say. But like I said, with the immigration situation, I mean, we've always been great with immigration, but I just fear that there's so many unvetted males walking around the street, even the area I'm now. I mean, I send my daughter to the shop and I'm waiting for her to come back. And I'm thinking, is this where I am now? And then if she's a minute late, I think I'm out the door and I'm walking back. She's like, what are you doing? I said, why was you so long? I was queuing the shop. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what are we like now?
I agree with you. I agree with you, Raymond. I mean, my grandchildren are all very little, and I really worry for them. I really worry for them, because what's it going to be like? Are we ever going to be able to turn this country back to how it was? How are you going to get all these people out? You know, how are you going to?
It's just frightening. It's just frightening with your children. You know, like I said, I mean, I work with some immigrants, and they do work. I mean, but they've come here like through schemes from their countries, like Ghana and whatever, and they are good lads.
Yeah, but that's different. If you come here legitimately and you work and you integrate and you don't want Sharia law. I read the other day there's 100 Sharia courts in England now. I mean, that's a disgrace. 100.
The immigrants I work with, well, I wouldn't say immigrants. They just come here. I mean, probably not the right word, because they're just, you know, they're all applying for British citizenship. But they don't. They think, why, they say to me, why are they letting so many of these people in, unskilled and vetted and documented? They know these people, and they're not, they're not the best of people to be having walk in your streets.
No, definitely. I mean, I go through, because it is my other job, I go through every day, all day, such as my dark world. Welcome to the dark world. I go through all the regions in the country, and I think last week in one day alone there were 12 court cases, all with Pakistani illegal migrants where they've done stuff. Every day I'm looking through, I sort of follow all the constabularies, so I can see how many are lost children. I think yesterday there were 6 lovely 14-year-old girls, 1 boy, 7, all gone missing in broad daylight. They had come home from school, just went out for something and gone. Where have they gone? And
it's just staggering the amount of missing. I live in a little town where you don't think much happens, but with Twitter now, there's so much information out there with the amount of people, just young children, what go missing. It's just scary, and it puts you in a constant state of alertness, which, is a good thing. I'm glad I am like that now. I'm always watching my daughter's back, Lucy's back. So
I think that's these situations as well. I mean, that's why I say, I think that's why I like doing this show, and I really thank you for your time, because we've got to wind it up in a minute. But time, because that situation, this is why I like doing it, is that you're just a family one day, and the next day something unimaginable happens. The same with little Harry. Your parent joined the little boy, and then he passes away through people's incompetence. And these are why I hope you haven't found it too emotional talking about it, and you probably have, and I can only apologize for that. But I think it's important that the listening people understand this could be you tomorrow. And it's very easy. Things come up in the press, don't they? And people go, oh, I can't imagine that. Oh, that's stupid. And they immediately have an opinion. And they don't know what it must be like. This person is a human being. Your wife was a human being, and people need to understand what all that involved. And the two-tier justice is absolutely in this country, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, like I said, it could happen to anybody. Lucy was just here a week before these 3 children were murdered. Looking after children from all over the world, and the parents absolutely adored Lucy. Lucy looked after. I remember walking up there way after when Lucy had been into prison, and some woman stopped in the car, got out. I thought, what's going on here? Excuse me, I've seen your wife looking after these kids, and she looks after them and loves them babies like they're their own. I just want you to let you know that. And I'm like, I don't know who this woman was or whatever, and got back in the car and drove off. But, like you say, all I done was doing my best job as a counsellor to support residents. I was passionate about the area. I still am. Lucy was always looking after the kids, and then 3 kids get killed, and all of a sudden, Lucy's the problem, and unfortunately, the little babies seem to be. Don't worry about them. Let's concentrate on this Lucy Connolly.
It's just it is dreadful. I mean, I see. I was so pleased to speak to her, because I was enraged when that happened to her, because I think with the work I do, I see so many creeps on a suspended sentence where they've been making category A videos, horrible incidents, real life situations. I don't call them child abuse images. These are real children being grotesquely abused, filmed in real time. And I think the judges, and then that person walks on a suspended sentence. And I think the judges, who are just as bad, that they should be made to watch these things. But I mean, you must also have a huge opinion about Lord Hermer.
Oh, well, at the end of the day, I mean, he seems to be picking a particular type of client to make sure they get the best deal. And then there's other people like Lucy who he seems to make sure that she gets the full force of the law, which Keir Starmer said. I mean, it's all independent, but obviously he did say the full force of the law will be coming on people like Lucy Connolly, and
it doesn't.
You predicted that really right. So I mean,
but the full force of the law, Ray, doesn't come raining down on these illegal immigrants that are raping women in broad daylight. I mean, no, not them. You know, I've dealt with fathers of girls who have been raped by these, you know, and it's just dreadful. Sometimes the police don't even come out.
I'm so sorry for the victims. I've been watching it on the TV on court, and I'm like, how would the person who's that's happened, their daughter, the parents, they're like the parents of the enemy.
I know. It is absolutely right, and I understand why some are murderous towards them. I really can understand it. Look, Ray, I can't thank you enough for your time. We have come to the end, and I think it's enlightening for people to listen, because it's all about Lucy, and I just thought, actually, I really want to talk to Ray and see how he is and how the whole thing.
Our best. We're doing just fine.
You're okay. That's
we've had a lot worse happen to us.
Well, you've had the worst, I think. You've had the worst.
Yes,
go up from here. So look, God bless, and I wish you well, and give her my best, give her my love, because I'm going to have her on again as well soon. So I'm really, really thank you. Have a great weekend. It's going to be lovely and sunny, isn't it? It's going to be wonderful. So
yeah, daughter's got
thank you very much. Thanks, Ray. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.